Why Kevin Samuels was a winner to the end. This one is for us ladies. Pull up a chair, get a drink of your choice, and let's talk to our heart's desire. We hear a lot about how men who are single and childless must be going through the same frustrations as women who are in the same position. Now, there are of course exceptions to every rule. There are very emotional men and some women are matter of fact and logical. The stereotypes, the general rule, is what I'm talking about here. Now, it's not to say that both sexes cannot learn from each other. They can, and they will. In fact, they already do. Just because circumstances in life lead us all to where we never thought we'd go. Again, I'm just talking here about the status quo for the average man and woman. Women are built to be decorative. We inject beauty into the world, physical as well as virtual. We are the social butterflies that keep communities together. Through our nurturing nature, we are best placed to raise children. Now, whether or not a woman has children or not, that doesn't matter. She has the potential within her. We take care of the infirm, the old, the vulnerable. We are the natural carers of society. To perform this function in society, we necessarily need to be full of feeling. And by that I mean emotion. That emotion can sometimes be exaggerated by changes in our female hormones, leading quickly to hysteria, which is where the Greek word for the womb comes from, and its tenuous links with the female emotion. Hysterectomy, removal of the hysteria organ. Yes, the links are clear. Yes, we are emotional. That is mostly good because emotion is necessary for the very young. Children, babies respond very well to emotion. Not necessarily to logic until they get older, of course. We feel alive when we are functioning as social creatures, even if we are introverted. If we lack this social structure in our lives, we quickly recreate it, even when we don't understand what we are doing. The only problem is when we do it wrong, when we substitute social structure with unpalatable desires. A good example is when a woman seeks sexual contact with a man whilst craving love, intimacy, and affection. And all the while, the man, clueless as to the mistaken identity of the act, thinks it's just sex, as he is prone to think because his brain is wired like this, and the enormity of the error only comes to light when the woman accuses him of using her body, of taking advantage of her, and then he is genuinely confused. The point is, a man thinks differently from a woman. It is designed so. This is one reason to catch a man. The first step is to understand his thinking. Many women clashed with Kevin Samuels, sometimes to hilarious effect, simply because they didn't understand his way of thinking. And yet, Kevin Samuels thought exactly like how all men think, or most men think. Except that most men remain silent on how they think. So in many ways, we have to thank men like Kevin Samuels because they could be the winning ticket for many women seeking husbands. He's telling you how to play the game. If only we would shut up and listen to these men, the journey to the altar would be simpler, less complicated, and certainly less traumatizing for many women. Especially in an age where many women do not have the benefit of men in their households to take them by the hand through the dark crevices of a man's mind. Just joking. It's not dark at all. It's very, very elucidated, actually. Light is being thrown into the man's mind by men like Kevin Samuels. So, the idea that a man, if single, is lamenting his status every minute of the day like women do is so not true. The equivalent situation for a man is to be jobless, and therefore, in his world, to be insignificant. Not being single and childless, which is a woman's problem. The man, he really doesn't care about that. In fact, he may enjoy the solitude a bit too much. Every man needs time away from women to clear his head, to formulate his vision for his life, to concretize his purpose, no matter how wonderful the woman he is with is. Now and again, he will surely crave a woman's touch, a friendly presence, but then soon he must withdraw from her again, even if he is in a healthy relationship with a great woman. A permanent withdrawal from women is not ideal, granted, but he copes with that far more than we women realize. Let's not celebrate the false notion that men are crying into their conflicts because they are not married, just because women do that. Not true at all. He has many problems, the single man, granted. But the absence of a wife in his home, no, that's not one of his problems. He may actually see it as a blessing, especially in today's climate, in today's current situation, let's just say. Especially when he looks at how his fellow man with a wife gets treated by her. This business about Kevin Samuels himself being a lonely little man spouting foolishness at women is far from the logical truth. For a start, he was a celebrity. Someone with millions of subscribers on his YouTube channel alone. I don't think he was poor. He was also 6'4", I believe, and slim and athletic looking. Not at all bad looking, am I right? He was in a position to live life on his own terms. With a couple of failed marriages behind him, I'm sure he was happy enough not to be lumbered with a wife anymore. He was his own man, and he lived the life he wanted, I'm sure. Now, is it necessarily true that older women who now find themselves alone in their later years are having a rough time of it? I wouldn't say no. The idea that she is financially worse off may of course depend on whether she has dependents or not. It is the way of the world that children tend to be attached to the mother's skirts until they are independent enough to look after themselves. And even if a separated or divorced dad is paying, somehow the day-to-day responsibility falls to the mother. Which is why, in general, parents who are widowed or divorced or separated tend to suffer more financially, at least for a while, until their children are grown. The truly single older ladies who have no children to worry about are not usually financially bogged down. So what's the problem here? And in fact, her life would not have changed at all from her younger days because she has had the same status the whole way through. So I repeat the question, what is the problem there? One of two things can happen in cases like this, and this very much depends on a woman's upbringing, her personality type, and which side of the feminista picket line she stands on. Some women are truly courageous in their single life status. They lament the lack of purpose of their bodily functions. Sure, it's a bit of a slap in the face, no? The monthly bleeding, what was it all for? If there is no child at the end of it. Then there is the social fallout as well. The social fall from grace if that coveted princess wedding never happened. And the loss of faith in the whole mother stakes, especially in the current social media climate where every detail of pregnancy, motherhood, and childbearing are displayed in every possible platform. And the ones who do not participate in it are losers, it seems. There are women who know how to block all that out very well. In fact, one could even say that they are not really interested in all that because they have other values. This is sadly a small minority of women. Most women are deeply affected by the absence of the big milestones in life because most women are herd creatures, unlike men who are designed to be lone animals. Speaking of the sexes learning from each other, One major advance women have made in the last 100 or so years is to be less disadvantaged financially in the event of her being alone, either in her younger years or in her older years. Now, men would argue that divorce laws have helped many women advance up the rungs of this financial ladder, but I would add that women in their own right are also, of their own effort, are better off financially than their mothers and grandfathers, even without the added help of divorce court payout, otherwise known as alimony and child support. One may make the insightful connection between bullish feminism and the need for women to become financially independent in the first place. But this is off topic for now. It is a complicated chicken and egg situation that I cannot afford to go into right now because of time issues. So, Kevin Samuels was not a lonely loser. Even if he was alone and seemingly seeking occasional creature comforts in the arms of random women at the time he passed. Because it may well have been his dream to live thus, for better or worse. Everyone must learn to either accept their situation or do something about it to improve their lot, in case it's not desirable, their current lot. Kevin Samuels knew that many women would not like where they end up if they didn't do something about it before it was too late. That's why he stuck his neck out for women. His abrasive style, however, was not too much beloved, shall we say, by the very audience or the very subject of his many YouTube shows and episodes. His manner was a bit too much to digest. I get that. Maybe it was a marketing ploy, who knows? A la Simon Cowell in the TV talent shows. And it for sure made for entertaining viewing on his channel. But peel away the acerbic remarks and you had a strict but compassionate father figure type actually. Men are generally not truly catty like women can be, even though they can be very matter of fact and blunt, which is certainly what Kevin Samuels was like. But we should rather a stern, straight-talking guy than a well-meaning but road to hell paved with good intentions type of woman. Or even road to hell paved with definitely bad intentions woman, watching us self-destruct while plying us with bad advice. You know? Good advice is good advice, no matter how it is delivered. I think we should learn to accept hard truths, as well as soft truths, of course, which is perhaps nicer to digest. But any lie, whether it's a buttered up lie or a sweetened up lie, it's still a lie. Let's not take that. Let's take the truth that hurts and be pain-free later, rather than take the sugar-coated lie that sees us end up in hell one day. And let's respect the people who take the time to do us a favor by telling us the truth. Let's not do any shaming, any belittling, any demeaning onto those people. Let's celebrate them. We may not like the message, but we should be at least grateful that we were given the opportunity to hear the correct information. Can we do that? Can we do that? Can we? Of course we can. We should. Blessings and harmony unto you. Peace.